Hello, and thank you for coming here. If you came across this video, I think your day was a bit intense or noisy, or it didn't pass at all and it was a very long day. Another option is maybe you're someone who likes to approach sleep with a sense of curiosity, with thoughts that don't strain the mind but leave a soft trace inside. Tonight, we're staying on Earth because it was never ordinary at any time, no matter how ordinary it looks from afar. Even though the world is a complex place, today we will think simply, without straining our minds, and we will relax our minds. Right now, you don't need to do anything. You don't have to remember every detail you hear. Don't try to engrave the information in your mind. Feel your shoulders slowly relax. Notice your jaw releasing. I want you to relax. Feel your thoughts like a late afternoon river becoming heavier. On this journey, we will glide among the gentle miracles of life on Earth. Things that are real, proven, but still seem like fairy tales. Some will surprise you quite a bit. Others will pass through your mind like a leaf. Let me tell you a little secret then. Everything will be slow. Everything will be calm. You will sleep quietly, safely. If you drift off while listening, that's perfect. That's exactly why we're here after all. Come on then. Now, let's begin. During the daytime, the forest is quite lively. Inside is full of light. While the leaves absorb the sun, birds animate the air. But when night comes, something changes. When the sun sets, photosynthesis slows down. Those tiny green systems inside the leaves stop collecting new energy. The forest switches to a different mode. Plants don't sleep like animals, but they shift gears. And in many forests, even the air feels different. When you enter the forest at night, coolness, density, as if the air is somewhat heavier. This is not just imagination. Temperature, humidity, and gas exchange are different at night. That's why forests at night seem like another world. I want you to visualize in a corner of your mind a vast living space, a world that changes its breathing when light disappears. Choose a leaf from your imagination and hold it up to the light, not the entire tree, just a single leaf. It looks simple, a thin green surface, but it's actually like a small city. On leaves are microscopic pores called stomata. They're like tiny doors. They open and close. Carbon dioxide enters, oxygen exits, but they always have to be in balance. If they open too much, the plant loses water. If they close too little, it can't produce energy. And this balance, silently, throughout the day, throughout the night, happens in billions of leaves. If your mind is still racing, try this. Think of a leaf, slowly opening its tiny doors, then closing them again, just like a calm breath. Our lives must always be in balance, just like our breath. Some nights, the sea is dark. It's silent, not a sound. There are only reflections. You see the moon's reflections on the sea. But some nights, the sea glows. The waves carry a blue-green light, as if the ocean has hidden stars. This is called bioluminescence. Very tiny creatures produce light with movement. It's not a warm light, it's not fire. It's a cold, clean, silent light. And what's interesting is this. This ability has evolved many times in nature, not just once. Different creatures at different times learn to glow. I want you to imagine this. You're sitting on a dark beach, there's no noise around, you're in a deserted place. Waves are hitting the shore. You're throwing away all the bad and negative thoughts in your mind.
Each step you take leaves a faint light in the water. If you feel your breath slowing down, you're on the right path. Most living things experience time in one direction. They begin, they grow, they age, and they die. But there's a small jellyfish that bends this rule a little. When it's under stress, or when it's damaged, its body can revert to a younger state. This is not a metaphor, it's real. Turritopsis dohrnii, sometimes called the immortal jellyfish. It's not immortal, it can be eaten, it can be destroyed, but its body can do a kind of rewinding, as if a story is quietly taken back to the beginning and starts again. You don't have to think about this, it's enough just to know this. Nature's imagination is much broader than ours. Well, have you ever wondered why we can't imagine like nature? Sometimes we're a bit unfair to ourselves.
Forests also have a second layer, beneath the soil. Fungal filaments connect to plant roots and form vast networks. Through these networks, water, nutrients, chemical signals can move. This is not a conscious conversation, but it is a connection. And this thought makes you see the forest differently. Not trees standing separately, but a community sharing silently. Now, I'm going to tell you about a small but somewhat comforting fact. You are not just you. Your body is a living space. Trillions of microorganisms live with you. Most are friends, some are necessary. They help your digestion, they support your immunity. If you feel alone at night, I want you to remember this. There's a community working silently inside you. They don't leave you and they don't give up on you. You also need to hold on to them tightly in the same way and take good care of your body. There's something we're going to touch on shortly. On Earth, there are creatures that can withstand extreme cold, radiation, even the vacuum of space. For now, leave this in a corner of your mind. We'll come back to it soon. Take a deep breath and release. If we're still here, we'll continue shortly. If you're drifting off, that's wonderful too, because Earth's miracles don't require you to be awake.
If you're still here, welcome. And if you drifted off a moment ago and came back, there's nothing to worry about. This is completely normal. On this journey, moving back and forth between wakefulness and sleep is allowed, because now we'll slowly peek into worlds we can't see with our eyes, but that exist everywhere. Think of a glass of water, still, clear, and motionless. Now imagine separating a single drop from it. Inside that tiny drop, there could be thousands of living things, bacteria, microscopic algae, invisible but living beings. Some produce light, some play a role in the oxygen cycle, some are the first link in the food chain of larger creatures. We can't notice them with the naked eye, but they are the silent workers keeping the world going. Let this thought rest without forcing it. Just know, one drop, and inside it, a whole order. Let's return to the curiosity gap we left earlier. On Earth, there are creatures that can survive in extreme cold, intense radiation, even in the vacuum of space. They're called tardigrades. Some call them water bears. They're very small, even smaller than a millimeter, but their resilience is almost unimaginable. If there's no water, they dry out, but they don't die. They essentially shut down their bodies. They wait for months, for years, and when conditions become suitable again, they continue as if nothing happened. This is a way of life that doesn't rush, a strategy that says, if not now, then later. And perhaps that's why it relaxes our minds. Now notice that you're breathing. This breath once meant death for Earth. Billions of years ago, there was almost no oxygen in Earth's atmosphere. Life had developed in oxygen-free environments. Then, microscopic organisms began to produce oxygen. At first, it was little, but over time it increased. And this increase was a disaster for most of the creatures of that era. A mass extinction occurred. But some creatures turned this new substance into an advantage. They learned to use oxygen. And complex life began like this. Every breath you take right now is the legacy of a very ancient transformation. We generally think of plants as calm, staying in place, not moving, reaching toward the light. But some plants hunt. The Venus flytrap counts insects. It won't close without 2 touches. Some attract insects with sweet scents, then slowly trap them. Why? Because the soil they live in is poor. They have to get nutrients from elsewhere. This is not aggression, it's adaptation. Nature produces silent solutions to survive. No leaf is the same as another, just like a person's fingerprint. Vein structures, shapes, responses to light. They're all different. One leaf can follow the sun, another repels water. Some catch insects. All have been shaped according to their purpose. That's why looking at a leaf for a long time strangely calms you down, because it doesn't have to be perfect, it just does its job. They're all like parts of an organization.
Bioluminescence is not just beautiful, it's also a language. Some creatures communicate with light, some hide with light. In the deep ocean, in places where the sun never reaches, light is the language of life. This means darkness is not empty, and perhaps that's why darkness no longer seems frightening. It's just full. Everything you're doing right now without realizing is the result of an organization. Your heart's rhythm, your breath's tempo, digestion. You're not doing any of these consciously, but they work flawlessly. Your body continues to work even while you sleep, silently, without tiring. You can use this thought like a blanket. Stop exhausting yourself and putting pressure on yourself. Let your body carry you. Shortly, we'll move on to creatures that think as a community, bodies that can repair themselves, and nature strategies that play with time. But for now, breathe, release. Earth is not rushing. You don't have to either.
If you're still here, this means your mind has slowed down. And if you drifted off a bit and came back, that's also part of the journey. Now we'll look at creatures that don't exist alone. Those who think together, those who move together. On a forest floor, ants walk, orderly, determined. But when their path is cut off, they don't stop. When they encounter a gap, one stops, another climbs on top of it, then another. And in a short time, they form a bridge from their own bodies. Thousands of small bodies work like a single structure. Who manages this bridge? No one. Each ant only reacts to the one next to it, but the result is a perfect solution. This is collective intelligence, decentralized, silent, but effective. This also shows us that small positive changes in our lives will accumulate over time and carry us to the top. Now let's go to an even stranger place. Slime molds are single-celled organisms. They have no brains, they have no nervous systems, but they can solve mazes. Scientists placed food at 2 ends of a maze. The slime mold spread in every direction, then withdrew the unnecessary paths. What remained was the shortest and most efficient path. Without thinking, without planning, just using its body. This reminds us that intelligence is not always thinking. Sometimes being in harmony is more important than intelligence. Think of a basketball team. It may have star players, but if there's no harmony among the team players, it's doomed to lose. In the depths of the ocean, octopuses glide. We all know they're intelligent animals. However, they have other characteristics that many of us don't know about. Octopuses can edit their RNA. That is, they can instantly change how genetic information is used. This makes them flexible. They adapt quickly to the environment, as if their bodies can say, "I need to be different now." Let this thought rest without forcing it. Just know, some creatures don't wait for change. They make it from within. Most animals look in a mirror, but don't recognize themselves. Some, however, do. Elephants, dolphins, some birds. They realize that what they see in the mirror is me. This doesn't mean they think like humans, but it shows that awareness doesn't belong only to us. And this idea brings a strange peace. We're not alone. Thinking is not the monopoly of a single species. Earth has almost emptied several times. 5 major mass extinctions occurred. Most species disappeared, but each time, life started again from somewhere. Not in the same way, but again. The small survivors became the foundation of new beginnings. This tells us life is fragile, but it doesn't give up. We humans sometimes break, fall, say it's over, but no matter what, we must not give up. Some fungi can control living beings. They can dominate them. They infect an ant, change its behavior, make it climb high, and then new spores spread. Scary? A bit. But at the same time, it shows how complex nature is. The forest isn't just green as it appears from the outside. Inside, it's deep. Many things we look at superficially in our world actually have very deep meanings. We think blue is abundant in nature, but as a true pigment, it's rare. Most blue color is the refraction of light, so the blue you see is actually an illusion. This also reminds us, everything we see is not as it is. Everything we think we know is never as we think it is either. Elephants remember their dead. They touch the bones, they stand, they wait. Sometimes they don't forget even years later. That's why they say elephant memory about those who don't forget. This doesn't have to be like our mourning, but it's the clearest example that emotion doesn't belong only to humans. Coral reefs are not made of stone. They're made of animals. Millions of tiny polyps build giant structures over time. With patience, silently, and inside, life explodes. Now, notice your breath. It may have deepened. Shortly, we'll move on to creatures that play with time and systems that sleep but work. But for now, let yourself relax.
If you're still listening, it means your mind is no longer resisting. And if you missed a part, that's not a problem either, because now we'll look at how time stretches in nature, how it's stopped, how it's suspended, and sometimes how it's rewound. In the cold regions of North America, there are some frogs. When winter comes, they literally freeze. Their hearts stop, their blood turns to ice, they don't breathe. Anyone seeing them from the outside would think they're dead. Actually, they don't die. Their bodies produce natural antifreeze substances that protect their cells. Ice cannot break apart the cells. And when spring comes, the ice melts. The heart beats again. The frog continues to move. This is a way of life that doesn't rush. It doesn't fight winter. It sleeps with it. It continues to live life as it comes, without rushing around, without experiencing stress. Some seeds can sleep for years, even for thousands of years underground, in darkness. One day, water comes, light comes, and the seed awakens, having survived past empires, seasons, silence. This is the biological state of patience. And perhaps that's why thinking about seeds brings people peace. They don't rush anywhere, they don't have to rush anywhere either, but they wake up at exactly the right time.
In the depths of the ocean, songs circulate. Whales produce sounds that can reach thousands of kilometers away. These sounds are not random. Each group, each generation has its own unique melodies. And these melodies change over time. New notes are added, Old ones disappear, like a kind of oral tradition. Right now, even as you sleep, a song may be echoing somewhere in the ocean. Right now, as you read or listen, some of the cells in your body are dying, and new ones are coming to replace them. Your skin, your blood cells, your intestinal cells, without you noticing. They're in a constant state of renewal, silent, without drawing attention. That's why you, even though you appear to be the same person, you slowly change every day without realizing it. And this thought carries a strange comfort in a person. Sleep is not being an emptiness. During sleep, your brain, your muscles, your cells, they all work. Memories are organized, unnecessary signals are cleaned, the body balances itself. While sleeping, nothing goes to waste. That's why what you're doing right now is not a waste of time. It's a maintenance process. Some creatures can almost completely stop their metabolism, like tardigrades. These creatures go into standby mode when conditions worsen. They don't hurry, they don't panic, they just stop. And this stopping keeps them alive. That's why we too must know how to be patient and wait when the time comes. Time doesn't flow at the same speed for everyone. Even though someone working in a very hard job and someone going on vacation spend the same amount of time, the flow rate of time varies from person to person and according to the environment you're in. In nature, there are times that speed up, slow down, stop. And right now, time is slowing down a bit for you. Don't try to force this, just notice it. Be aware of the time you've left behind and know its value. Don't forget, today will never come again. That's why live the moment. Shortly, we'll move on to creatures that communicate, systems that speak, and silent messages. But for now, breathe, release. Time is carrying you.
If you've come this far, your mind has given up resisting. Thoughts are softer. The gaps between them are longer. Now, we'll look at worlds that don't need sound to speak. Places where messages flow like whispers. When a leaf is eaten by an insect, it doesn't stay silent. Some plants release chemical signals into the air. These signals reach nearby plants. There's danger. Those plants that receive the danger signal immediately harden their leaves, make their taste bitter, increase their defense. This is not consciousness, but it is a form of communication. Gardens, forests are more talkative than we think. Even though we can't hear them, they continue to talk in their own environments without us realizing it. Some flowers respond to the wing vibrations of bees. When a bee approaches, their nectar becomes sweeter. The flower has no ears, but its petals sense the vibration. This is like a call and response, silent but perfectly timed. Humans must also be perfect in timing. Time is valuable for a person who has a planned life. Dolphins can distinguish each other very easily. Each dolphin has its own unique whistle. This whistle is like a name for humans. Other dolphins learn this sound and call using it. This is not imitation, it's recognition. Inside the ocean, names echo. In the depths of the blue sea, the means of communication is sound waves. Birds flying in the sky don't carry maps, but they sense Earth's magnetic field. This field gives them direction. They can travel thousands of kilometers and return to the same place without getting lost. Lines we don't see carry them, and this thought creates a strange sense of confidence. Direction is not lost, it's just invisible.
If humankind knows where to go and its direction in life, if it makes its plans in advance, it will never be lost. Earth truly breathes. Carbon from air to plants, from plants to animals, to soil, and back to air again. This cycle keeps life in balance. And you, with the breath you're giving right now, you're inside this cycle. You're not separate. Those who first shaped Earth's surface were bacteria. Billions of years ago, they built structures that looked like stone, layer upon layer, with patience, and they changed the atmosphere. If we can breathe today, its foundation is very ancient. Communication is not always words. Sometimes it's a vibration, sometimes a scent, sometimes a sense of direction. And right now, your body is talking to you too. It's saying, slow down. It's saying, let go. It's saying, spend some time with yourself. Spend some time by yourself, away from everything. Shortly, we'll move on to those who have minds but stay silent. Small brains that make plans, and unexpected intelligences. But for now, notice your breath. It may have deepened. If you're at this point, your mind is much quieter now. Thoughts aren't coming to your mind one by one. They're spreading like a mist. Now we'll see how small brains, and sometimes even those without brains at all, do surprising things. If you're ready, we're jumping to a different section. Bees are small and fast, silently working creatures, but very hard-working. But experiments show that bees can understand the concept of zero. One shape, two shapes, and no shapes. Nothingness is a value for them too. This shows that abstract thinking doesn't belong only to large brains. Sometimes intelligence doesn't take up space, but it's deep. Some birds don't settle for the present moment. They can easily think ahead. Crows can save food to use later. Even if they're not hungry right now, they know they'll need it later. When they need it, they take out the food they saved and eat it nicely. This is understanding the difference between now and later. A silent planning, unpretentious. Octopuses are not just intelligent, they're curious. Some play with toys, push bottles, try again and again. This is not necessary for survival, but they do it anyway. This whispers to us, curiosity is life's luxury. A person who isn't curious is condemned to living emptily, to not enjoying life. Some fish are alert even while sleeping. While one half of their brain rests, the other half monitors the environment. This way, they both rest and survive. Even sleep is flexible in nature. But what about humans? When we lay our heads on our pillows, if there are no thoughts clouding our heads and minds, we easily drift into sleep. When we compare human sleep with a fish's sleep, how luxurious it seems. Let's appreciate its value. Some parrots distinguish colors, count numbers, understand the concepts of different and same. This is not just repetition, it's meaning. And this thought makes a person smile. Intelligence doesn't manifest in just one form. Schools of fish, flocks of birds, suddenly change direction, never collide. No one gives commands, but the movement is perfect. This is the silent state of thinking together. Perhaps your eyes have grown heavy now. Perhaps the gaps between words have lengthened. This is a good sign. Shortly, we'll move on to creatures that push the limits of the body, those who adapt to extreme conditions. But for now, breathe, release. Your mind doesn't need to carry anything. If you've come this far, thoughts are no longer making an effort. Words are coming and going. Now we'll look at creatures that push the limits of life.
those who continue to exist despite the cold, the heat, the weight of time. When winter comes for some insects, it's time to rest and stop. Their bodies freeze, movement stops, metabolism drops to almost zero. But their cells are protected. They produce special substances, prevent ice from causing damage. And when spring comes, with the warmth they thaw, they continue their lives. This is life's ability to be able to wait and, at the same time, to be patient. It's what we humans often can't do. Camels can live for weeks without drinking water. Their bodies protect every drop. They reduce sweating. They flex their body temperatures. Their humps carry not water, but energy. The desert is not an enemy for them. It's adaptation. Arctic fox's fur changes with the season. White in winter, brown in summer. As if they've made an agreement with the environment. Being invisible is sometimes surviving. There's no such thing as you'll always be visible. If there are times when you feel bad, if there are times when you think, why am I invisible? No one sees me. Always bring Arctic foxes to mind.
The deep ocean is a place where light doesn't reach. Pressure is very high. Cold is sharp. But there is life. Glowing fish, transparent bodies, slow movements. Silent but alive. This reminds us life doesn't choose conditions. Nature produces answers to new problems. Some bacteria can break down plastic, slowly but with determination. This is not a miracle, it's adaptation, and it carries hope. In the waters of Antarctica, in the icy sea, there are fish that live. In their blood, there are natural antifreeze proteins. Ice crystals don't form. Cold doesn't stop them. Right now, you're adapting too. You're relaxing. You're letting go. Life doesn't ask you to hold on forcefully, just to flow. Let life flow. Remove your obstacles and continue to live life as it is. Don't forget, life is too short to be sad about. Focus on the present moment. Shortly, we'll look at places where movement and rest merge, those who sleep while flying, silent powers. But for now, breathe. Release slowly.
If you're at this point, your mind is no longer holding on. Thoughts aren't knocking on the door and entering, they're just passing by from afar. Now we'll look at creatures for whom rest doesn't always mean stopping. Sometimes movement itself is a form of rest. In the sky, there are birds that fly for long periods without stopping. Albatrosses, frigate birds, for days, even weeks. So how do they endure? While half of their brain sleeps, the other half stays awake. One eye is closed, the other is open. Wind carries them, wings find rhythm. This is proof that sleep and movement can coexist. Perhaps you're in a similar place right now, too. Awake but relaxed, here but heavy. On Antarctica's silent shores, penguins collect stones. They choose the smoothest one and offer it. This is like a proposal, a way of forming a bond. In the cold, in the wind, a small gesture. Nature expresses great emotions through silent ways. At night, when an owl passes, you don't hear it. Its feathers absorb the sound of air. Wing edges are soft, they disrupt vibration. That's why owls are almost silent. Silence is their power. And this thought suits you too.
The human body emits a very faint light, invisible to the eye, but it exists. Chemical reactions produce tiny photons. This light changes throughout the night. Even while you sleep, your body is not completely dark. Hold this thought for a moment, then let it go. Chameleons don't just camouflage. Color changes reflect their emotions. Calmness, tension, curiosity, all of it is red on their skin. This is another way of expressing without speaking. Earth's magnetic field is invisible to the eye, but it's felt. Turtles, birds, fish follow these lines. No one teaches them, but they know. This also says not everything is learned, some things are remembered. Right now, everything is as it should be. You don't have to sleep, you don't have to stay awake either. Just be. Shortly, we'll look at the oldest traces, deep time, and the roots of life. But for now, breathe, release. The sky is still there. Earth is turning.
If you've come this far, your mind is no longer asking questions. It's not waiting for answers either. It's just listening. Now, we'll slowly move back toward the oldest traces of life, without speeding up, without forcing. There was no light, there was silence. Earth was very young. The atmosphere was different. The surface was hard. But in the depths of the ocean, around hot water sources, life emerged. A life based not on light, but on chemistry. These creatures were invisible, simple, but persistent. Today, still, we carry traces of that first strategy. Some microorganisms live inside rocks. They don't see the sun, they don't move, but they're there. They live a slow life. Time is different for them. This shows how flexible the concept of living is. The calcium in your body, in your bones, iron in your blood, carbon in your cells, all of these were once inside stars. A star exploded, elements scattered into space, and much later, they became a body. Right now, you carry the legacy of stars. There's no need to force this thought. Just let it be there. Some creatures, even when fragmented, become whole again. Starfish, flatworms. Cells know what to do. This shows that the body has a deep memory, and perhaps that's why healing is possible. Some trees have lived for tens of thousands of years. The trunks you see are actually parts of a single living being. Roots connect them all. Generations come, go, but life continues to remain. What you're feeling right now may be a kind of expansion. Problems a bit smaller, time a bit softer. This is the effect of deep time, life's reminder that we're not in a hurry. Shortly, we'll slowly complete this journey, but not to finish it, to pause at a calm point. For now, breathe, release. Time is carrying you, as it always has.
If you're still listening, perhaps you're no longer listening. Perhaps the words aren't clear. Perhaps meaning has dispersed. This is very good, because some journeys are not for understanding, but for letting go. Right now, Earth continues to turn. Oceans are swelling. Wind is changing direction. Somewhere a seed is cracking. It's enough for you to know this. You don't need to follow it. The universe works even while you sleep. Life doesn't demand effort from you. Your heart beats even if you don't remember. Breath comes even if you don't count. Cells work even if you don't control them. Right now, everything is already as it should be. Throughout this journey, you've heard many things. You'll remember some will be lost. But curiosity doesn't get lost. It just rests. And one day, it comes back. Everything we told, plants, animals, oceans, time, all of it is passing through you too. You're not separate from nature. You're a moment of nature. And this moment is softening right now.
Beneath the soil, millions of tiny lives continue. An ant finds its way. A root reaches water. A seed cracks its shell. Life is both very large and very small at the same time, and everything is moving at exactly the speed it should. You're inside this speed too, but now you can stop. Tonight, the world isn't asking anything of you. There's nothing you need to do. Your mere existence is enough. The clock isn't ticking here. Time isn't a line. It's like a river. It flows slowly, rolls rubbing against stones, finally mixes into a still pond. You're that pond now, still, deep, silent. Thoughts like leaves dropped into water come and go. If you don't touch them, they drift away on their own. Now feel your breath again. Inhale and exhale. Notice your chest gently rising and falling. Your body is sinking deeper into the bed. The space between words is growing. Sentences are softer. Mind is slower. Your eyelids may grow heavy. Allow it, because sleep has already knocked on your door. At the end of tonight, perhaps you won't remember most of what you heard, but the feeling will remain. Comfort, lightness, silence. The world will continue to turn, oceans will ripple, trees will whisper, and you will sleep attuned to their rhythm. Fatigue is dissolving, shoulders are releasing, mind is relaxing. You don't need to resist anymore. Words can turn into dreams. This story doesn't end here. It just merges into sleep. Now, good night. May a deep, soft, peaceful sleep be with you.